Hello, everyone, and welcome to the freshly revived Inside the Woods podcast, Valley News show where every week we'll give an inside look at Dartmouth Big Green football as they make their way through the 2025 season. I'm your host, Mike Coughlin. Let's get right into it. The Big Green enter 2025 coming off a season in which they finished 8-2, won a share of the Ivy League championship for the second consecutive year, and have now done so for the fourth time in the last 5 seasons. That type of success, expectations from the outside are high. In August, an Ivy League preseason poll was conducted by media members who cover the conference, and the Big Green were ranked second. Harvard, a team the Big Green have not beaten since 2021, was ranked as the conference favorite. A new season brings about new opportunities as well, not only for the Big Green, but the rest of the Ivy League, as teams won't just duke it out for the Ivy League championship, but also the right to appear in the FCS playoffs. In December, the Ivy League Council of Presidents approved a proposal that will finally give Ivy League squads more to play for in the lower-level NCAA Division I playoff that features 24 teams, meaning the Big Green aren't going to have to battle the likes of Arch Manning in Texas or Ohio State if they make it to the playoff. 11 conference champions receive an automatic bid into the playoff, and the remaining at-large teams are selected by the FCS Championship Committee. North Dakota State is the reigning champion. Big Green begin their pursuits of an Ivy League title and FCS playoff appearance a week from Saturday at 1 p.m. when they host the University of New Hampshire. In advance of next week's opener, I sat down with head coach Sammy McCorkle, who enters his third season as head coach and continues to build upon the groundwork laid by the late great Buddy Tevens, to discuss the team's offseason and the work they've been putting in to prepare for the season. I also chatted with senior wide receiver Daniel Haughton, native of North Carolina, who's worked his way up to captaincy and being one of the team's top wide receivers. So let's get right into the interviews. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with senior wide receiver Daniel Haughton. Daniel led the Big Green receiving yards last season with 428 yards. He also earned the Charles W. Pearson Award last year, which is given to an underclassman for their character, leadership, academic work, and on-field performance. Hey, Daniel, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me. I'm excited to get chatting with you.
Absolutely. All right, let's get right into it. So, first, you're going into your senior season. I wanted to ask, when you look back to when you first arrived on campus, what stands out to you about your time at Dartmouth, and how do you think you've changed most as a person and a player?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what stands out to me the most is just a sense of community at Dartmouth. That's something that really made me want to commit here and come here in the first place. And, even though you can commit to it, you're not sure how it'll be when you actually show up on campus. Showed up on campus from Charlotte, North Carolina, so, 13 hours from home. It's really far away, far from my family and my close friends. And right away I was just accepted into the community. First with my own teammates and friends, on the team, but also just branching out to other students on campus, just the general Dartmouth community in general. So I think that's one thing that's kind of stood out for me through all three of my years here at Dartmouth. Specifically, looking at me, I feel like I've grown a lot just in my confidence level as a person, kind of knowing who I am. I think confidence really stems if you know what to do, and self-confidence stems if you know yourself and know what makes you tick. I think when I came to Dartmouth, I was still unsure, just feeling myself out, learning who I was, learning myself on the football field, off the football field. But because of Dartmouth, finding your friends, taking new classes, meeting new people, getting challenged on the football field, getting challenged in the classroom, I really learned who I am and what are the things I'm good at and what are the things I need to improve on. And I think that applies both, off the field and on the field. Yeah.
Right, and speaking to your evolution at Dartmouth, you've seen a big jump in your productivity, on the field in each of the last 2 seasons. In the spring, you were named a team captain. I wanted to ask you what are you most excited about heading into your senior season?
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited for the team we have and the ability to compete with, at the highest level. I think we have a great team. We have a bunch of talent all over the roster, and we're really starting to build depth recently in camp, which is really good. The wide receiver room, I feel like, is loaded, but just beyond that, our offense has a lot of talent, so does our defense. I'm really excited to see where this team can go. I think we have a great coaching staff, a lot of experience, but also just from different levels of the game, and also, pro experience, stuff like that. And I think they give us a great amount of knowledge, and with their knowledge, we're able to play fast and really compete. So I think we have a great team, and I'm really excited to see how far we can go, especially with the new addition of Ivy League teams can play in the playoffs if we do win the Ivy League championship. So with that possibility in mind, I'm really excited to see how far this team can go and just see if we can take our talent and actually match it up with our opportunity and just excel.
Right, and, in your answer, you mentioned the wide receiver room and, the coaching staff. Also this spring, Mitchell Thompson was added to the staff as a receiver coach. What has Coach Mitchell brought to the receiver room here in the offseason?
Yeah, Coach Thompson has been a great addition so far. We've had a lot of receivers coaches, and they all bring their own flair, and now we have Coach Thompson, who's just a great person, first off, but also a great coach. He also has a lot of experience, play calling experience as well. So it's a new depth to the receiver room. And I think the thing that he really brings to all of us is a bunch of energy and a bunch of confidence. Like we can tell from the first meeting that Coach Thompson really believed in us as a group. And he wanted to push that, like, hey, guys, I believe in you. I think you can be a great wide receiver group. Now we have to go out and do the work to achieve that. And so since the get-go, Coach Thompson has been stressing us, making sure that we tune in on the little details of route running, catching the ball, being smooth in our routes, being smooth in our yards after catch ability. And I think that energy and confidence he brings to the group has really helped us so far. And so I'm looking forward to see how it grows. As I said, I think just he brings a lot of energy, always juiced up. But more importantly, he shows to us every day that, hey, I believe in you guys. And because I believe in you guys, I'm going to try to push you to get even better each and every day. And I think that's really helped us.
Right. And then, just the last one, finally, we'd like to ask you about your personal plans for the future. We want to know, what degree you're pursuing and what are your goals for after graduation?
Yeah, I'm currently, I guess it's a bachelor's degree, but I'm currently pursuing my major. It's called Politics, Philosophy, and Economics. It's a liberal arts sort of major that you can have at Dartmouth. Dartmouth has you have the great ability of sort of modifying your majors. I really enjoy that here, and you can kind of take different, course selections, different majors, and mix them together and create your own sort of major. And PPE, as we call it, Politics, Philosophy, and Economics, is sort of a new one that stemmed off of the government department, and it's sort of a merger with philosophy and economics, as the name says. So I'm pursuing that degree. I'm basically done with my major now. I have one more term, this upcoming fall term, and so I have to take one more economics class, and after that, this upcoming term, I'll be finished with the major, which I'm really excited about. I actually plan on graduating early or finishing my courses early. I'll still walk in the spring, but I will be done with all my courses by the end of this fall. I've taken 35, and so I'm really excited about that. It was something I kind of always wanted to do when I started off at Dartmouth. I saw some of the older guys, the seniors, do it when I was a freshman, and I said that's something that seems really interesting to me. So I kind of set up my deep plan to follow that path and get done with my classes early. So after that, I'm kind of really going to see like what happens and where it takes me. I'd love to continue playing football. That's the ultimate goal, at the highest level, playing possibly in the pros and NFL, or also if the opportunity arises to be able to just play another year of football. I do have I have a redshirt year because I didn't play in enough games as a freshman. But wherever that opportunity can take me, I'd love to see that. And once football is over, which it eventually will be, no matter how long you play or how good you are, I'd like to use my PPE and Dartmouth degree to either go into law school or just go into like sort of regulatory compliance work at a financial type of firm. I think I have a lot of interest in sort of the legal realm. I did an internship this past summer in that sort of area, but I also have ties to economics and just finance in general. And I think, mixing those two, sort of corporate law, would be something that I'm really interested in. That also could, lead to a path in law school. I still figuring that one out, honestly. But for now, I think I want to go into sort of a regulatory or legal role at a financial company. But yeah, that's kind of where I'd love to see myself after football ends up.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you very much for giving us the time, Daniel. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was great talking to you.
Welcome back, everybody. With me now is Big Green head coach Sammy McCorkle. Sammy's been with the Big Green since 2005 and has been Dartmouth's head coach since 2023 when he took over for the late Buddy Tevens. Sammy, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Mike, great to be here and appreciate you doing this, and excited to have the opportunity to spend some time with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it. With the team coming off of back-to-back Ivy League championships, 4 titles in the past 5 seasons. I wanted to ask, how did you approach this off season, and also your thoughts on what you think it is about Dartmouth, behind the scenes that has allowed for this period of sustained success?
Well, in this program over the years, we've developed a standard, and our year in, year out, we're wanting to challenge our players, challenge our staff to make sure to continue to do what we need to do to meet that standard and beyond. And we spent a lot of time this off season. You got to forget about, it's great what happened in the past, but you got to forget about it. You got to move on to the next season. That has no effect on who we will be going into this upcoming season. But we talked about it in the off season about continue to take this program to the next level, and to continue to work day in and day out and preparing ourselves to be able to do that. And I think that's a standard that's been around Dartmouth football for a long time. And Coach Stevens developed that blueprint of success here at Dartmouth, and I was very fortunate enough to be able to spend the amount of time that I did with him, and was able to learn and be part of that, building that blueprint and developing that blueprint. And that's something that it continues to be passed on from year to year, and our players are a big part of that. Our older players do a phenomenal job of mentoring the young players. So when they step foot on campus and step foot into our locker room, they know pretty quick what the standard is and what the expectation is. And our players and our staff, we do a great job of holding each other accountable day in and day out to make sure and ensure that we continue to challenge ourselves and put ourselves in a situation where we can reach the goals that we want to reach.
Right. And for my next question, I wanted to shift a little and, ask a bit about the general landscape of college football and kind of college sports in general as well. We're sort of in an era of monetization in college athletics, but the Ivy League has kind of tried hard to stay above the fray of NIL deals, transfer portal roster overhauls, and things of that nature. I wanted to ask, how has this new environment in college athletics impacted the way, Dartmouth recruits or, tries to retain players?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different, right? And, fortunately for the Ivy League and Dartmouth, we still have a little bit of that purity in our league. But I think the biggest thing is, it is changing, and you just can't sit on the sideline and watch it happen and not be ready to react and prepare yourself. And so you have to adjust. And even though the transfer portal doesn't immediately affect us early on, we actually use it as an advantage for when we recruit. We try to explain to prospects and their families the opportunity when they finish their career here at Dartmouth that the transfer portal is an advantage for them. And it'd be an opportunity for them potentially after they play for us and we help develop them. And, they get the best of both worlds. They get that Ivy League Dartmouth degree, play at a top program, and then prepare them to potentially, if they have the opportunity, to go on and play at a Power 4 school that we've had a number of guys do, and hopefully have the opportunity after that playing at the next level in the NFL. But that's how we utilize that. And like I said, it changes every year, and you have to do a good job as a staff and as a program. You have to be able to adjust and change with that.
Right. And, sort of related to, the landscape of college football, more specifically the landscape of, Ivy League football. This season, for the first time, Ivy League teams are going to be eligible to qualify for the FCS playoffs. I wanted to ask, what does that mean to you, your staff, and the players to have, this new goal that you guys are able to go after?
Well, it definitely is a huge motivator for our program. We're super excited to have this opportunity to potentially have the opportunity to continue playing after the season's over with. More importantly, I just want to make sure I, take the time to thank our president, Sion Bylock. She was a huge reason that the rule got passed, and she was a huge advocate for us. And but I think just have the opportunity to be able to continue to play. That's another goal, and we have a lot of goal. Our goal is always to win the Ivy League championship and play for an Ivy League championship. But we know now if we are able to prepare ourselves and do what we need to do that, it gives us an opportunity to continue playing and be able to compete against the top schools in the country. And I think that for us to have the opportunity, or any Ivy school, to be able to go in the playoffs and compete and show the talent level and what the Ivy League is all about, it's exciting for all of us.
Right. And, looking at your roster for the upcoming season, wanted to ask if you'd be able to tell listeners, a little bit about some of the returning starters who you, with the rest of the coaching staff, are, counting on to, bring leadership to the squad this season.
Yeah, I think starting up front with our offensive line, everything starts up front on both the offense and defensive line. That's where your success for a program happens, for your team is in the trenches. And we're fortunate to have an All-American left tackle, W. Lemieux, who's back, who's been a starter for us his entire career here. And then Constantine Spork, who was a right tackle for us last year. I moved him to the right guard position, who's a fifth-year guy. So he's the oldest guy in the offense. He has probably, between him and Delby, they have the most experience of anybody up there. And but those two guys do a great job of showing leadership up front and putting our offense in a situation where we can be able to run the ball and also give us time to throw the ball. And then, with our tight end, we actually have two older guys, Chris Corbo and Sean Ward. Chris Corbo is another preseason All-American. A lot of publications have him listed as one of the top FCS tight ends in the country, and deservedly so. I mean, the effort and time he has put in to put himself in a situation to be that guy. He's worked in daily. And then with Sean Ward at that position, another guy who's played a lot of football for us. And then at the wide receiver position, we got Daniel Haughton and Grayson Obero, two guys who have played a lot of football for us. And, they've done a good job of each year getting better and become a threat for us in the vertical game. And then going back, our backfield, our running backs, we got a stable of guys, but they're led by two seniors, DJ Crowther and Des Jackson, two guys, once again, who have a lot of playing time and who have the ability to make some big plays for us. And then defensively, we return a number of guys, especially in the secondary. It's our strongest group. It's probably the most talented group we've had in a long time. We've got a lot of older guys, led by Sean Williams, who's an All-Ivy guy, who will be a play safety for us and also a punt returner. And he's surrounded by Pat Campbell, a corner, who was a starter last year for us and has an opportunity to definitely be one of the better corners in the league. And then Tyson Grimm plays nickel for us. So we got a lot of guys who have started a lot of games for us in that secondary. And then we up front, our defensive line, we graduated some really good players, but we also have a number of guys who played a lot of snaps for us. And Coach Brooks, our D-line coach, does a great job, and Coach Doves, our defense coordinator, do a phenomenal job rotating guys in. So we've got a number of guys who have played for us, but now it's their opportunity to be the guy now. And they're backed up at the linebacker position with Teddy Generis and Zion Freer-Brown and Nico Schweikel, guys who have been waiting in the wings to have their opportunity. And we're super excited about them going out there showcasing what they can do.
Right, and sort of related to that, I have one more for you, Coach. Similarly, who are some, maybe first-year starters or other newcomers who, fans or followers of Dartmouth football might be less familiar with that you and your coaching staff are hoping will be impactful for you guys this fall? And then I also wanted to ask, as you guys are gearing up for your opener, are there any undecided position battles you have going on that are coming down to the wire before you guys get out there against UNH?
Well, I think when it comes to guys, that are, starters, we play a lot of guys, and we say it all the time on both offense and defense. We're looking for the top 22 on each side of the ball. And I think now with the way the game is now, it's hard just to put 11 guys out there and play the entire football game. So that's our key now. We feel like we've established on each side of the ball, probably our 11 starters who will go out there first. But the big thing now is finding those guys who, when we sub a guy in, we don't want there to be a drop off. And we're definitely establishing that to be too deep across the board. But I feel like, with the guys that we have, we got some experienced guys. They might not have been a starter a lot. For instance, Grayson Sagne was not our starting quarterback last year. But he is a guy that came in and got a lot of valuable time last year. So I'd say he's probably, everybody, pretty much everybody know he's our starting quarterback. But he's a guy that has emerged from past season and had a great spring, and going into preseason has done a great job. So we're super excited for him to be the guy back there at the quarterback position. And I think, going back to the defensive side of the ball, I think Harrison Keith's a guy who played a little bit at the end of the season, then had an injury. But he's a guy that we're super excited about. He's a two-sport athlete, plays lacrosse here as well. But he's a guy that we're really excited about going out there and starting for us. And then at the other corner position with Jordan Barnes. He's a guy that's limited playing time last year, but has a phenomenal off season. And, he gives us some really great size and speed at the corner position. So, and I say, going at we got a stable of guys at the running back position. We've got Dylan Elders. He'll be a sophomore for us. We're going to utilize a lot of running backs and keep them fresh in the game. And we're super excited about him. And at the wide receiver position, you've got Ian Scott, and James Elliott, Kedrick Fisher, Luke Reeves. There's a number of guys at that position that have really shown to be very productive and very explosive at the wide receiver position. So we're super excited about them getting an opportunity to go out there and play.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Coach, for your time. I really appreciate it, and I wish you guys luck as you are wrapping up the preseason here and getting ready for the regular season.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for listening to the return episode of the Inside the Woods podcast. We will be back again next week and dig into the Big Greens opener with UNH. If you have a question for Sammy, email sports@v.as-in-valley-news.com. That's sports@vnews.com. Emails there will give you a chance to have Coach answer your question on the next podcast. All right. Thank you very much again for listening, and we'll see you next Thursday.